everyone. I'm really glad to be here, sharing a piece of my journey with all of you. I come from Patna, a tier 2 city, capital of Bihar. It is a city which is often overlooked on the map of opportunities. Yet, it's filled with warmth, resilience, and a lot of stories to be heard. While growing up there, I didn't have access to elite resources or glamorous exposure, but what I had was grit. The grit that you develop when you realize that you have to work twice as hard to be seen and 3 times as hard to be taken seriously. My education was my stepping stone. I was never the topper of my class, but I was pretty decent. And moreover, I always believed that my education would lead me to somewhere meaningful. All I aimed was excelling in my academics because that was the only way I could see myself being successful in life. Until 2017, when I was 17 years old and I was in grade 12 in Patna. Mukesh Chabra casting company came to my school, which is the biggest casting company of Bollywood. On that day, somehow, I had forgot to bring my math book to school. That event actually changed my life. Of course, I was always inclined towards performing arts. I was very keen and very interested in performing, always, since the beginning. So my interest and my fear of my math teacher, who was very strict. So to escape his wrath, I decided to go for the auditions that were happening in my school auditorium instead of attending my math class. I went there. I don't remember what I did, but I did something which they liked. And I went back home. I told my father that I've given this audition. My mother was just sitting right there. And my father just smiled at me. He said, okay, fine. After 3-4 hours, I get a call that we want you to come for another round of auditions, which were happening in Patna, which was happening there. So my father took me to those rounds of auditions, and finally, I was selected. They told my father that you have to come to Bombay with your daughter. So that was the first time I went to Bombay, wide-eyed, full of dreams, thinking that this is going to change my life forever. I'm going to be some diva, a star overnight. But that didn't happen. The film slipped away from my hands. I was shattered. For a 17-year-old Samta, it was the first failure, and it was almost seeming like the end of my world. I was broken, I was disheartened. So I turned back to the comfort of my books. I started studying again for my board exams. I poured myself completely into my books. And I scored pretty well in my 12th exams. I cleared the cutoff of Delhi University and came here for my graduation. When I came to Delhi, I thought it would be very easy for me because, that was my decision to come to Delhi. But it wasn't easy because I didn't have any friends here, I didn't have any family, no comfort of home, no home cooked meals, nothing. My body was completely resisting the change. I felt sick, and it was very difficult. But because it was my decision, I had to make it work. And I did. Gradually, I adjusted to Delhi. I made some friends. I started enjoying college. Everything started to seem nice and perfect, and the world seemed a brighter place, full of opportunities. And that's when 4th semester came. 2020, March, COVID hit the world. I went back to home. It almost felt like another unfinished ending, abrupt ending, and I wasn't happy about it. But as we know, every coin has two sides. I went to home, and that's when a new door of opportunities opened for me, because a lot of actors from Bombay had gone back to their homes and online auditions had started. And because of that 2017 audition that I had given, somebody somewhere had my data stored in their laptop. So I also started getting online auditions. And also because while I was in Delhi, I was engaging with auditions. Like whatever little auditions I would get, I would record it by myself and send it to them. Because of that consistent engagement and that 2017 audition, I started getting more auditions, and I and my brother Vivek would go on the first floor of my house and secretly record auditions without telling anybody in my family that we are doing this, without even thinking about what would happen if we get selected, if I get selected. We didn't bother about that. We were just recording auditions and sending it. And as steady drip of water carved the hardest of rocks, finally I got my first film. And I didn't know how to break this news to my family that I am going to do a film. But again, I went to my father and I told him, and he again smiled, and we again went to Bombay. And this time the film did slip away. I did the film. I had a film to start from January 2021. Sounds very romantic and easy, right? But no. I had my company secretary foundation entrance exam in December 2020, which was just 10 days before I had to start shooting. I had my college exams, my class projects, my group projects, so many things. I had a lot of family and friends who were telling me, what are you doing? This is a completely new world. We are very middle class to be in films. We can't do that. This is a very far-fetched dream. How could you even imagine, how could you even dream of becoming an actor? That is not a career. So much noise around me. The image of the industry wasn't very clear for my family. My mother was very skeptical what would happen. But this time, I didn't want to let this opportunity go. I wanted to do things on my own terms. So what I decided was I would choose both the things. I would choose my academics and I would choose to do the film. And I managed both. I'm still doing both. While I'm shooting for films and shows and ads, I'm also writing my exams. I'm clearing my CS exams. I qualified NET. I did my master's in marketing while doing everything that I wanted to do. And while juggling between my passion to make films and my desire to study further, I realized that our real power actually lies in pursuing everything that we want to do. Society often tells us as women to shrink, to fit into boxes, to behave a certain way, to walk a certain way, to sit a certain way, to laugh a certain way, to conform to the norms and rules of society that they have made for us in order to fit in the box of an ideal woman. But I am an ideal woman and I'm doing everything that I want to do. That is my real power. So today, I'm standing here not just as a young Bollywood actress, but as a student, as a performer, as a dreamer, as an artist, who's here to tell you that our real power lies in doing what we want to do on our own terms. And let me tell you, we are all more than one thing. We are all so many things that we want to do. Our brain can do multiple things. We just have to believe in us. And while doing all of those things, while knocking at different doors of possibilities, one thing which is very common for all of us is that we get nervous and we know that we are unsure, we are imperfect, we are tired, we are exhausted, we are so many things. But what matters while doing all of it is that we are still present, we are responsive, and we keep knocking, we keep working hard, we keep engaging with the craft that we like. And that is just enough. Sometimes we knock on the door of opportunities and the door doesn't get open and we feel that this is not for us, this is not made for us. But more often than not, if you consistently keep knocking at the door, someday or the other, it will open for you and it will change your life forever. Thank you. That was my time.